It seems that your attempt to dislodge my status as champion has failed yet again. Shake, mate.
No! So soon? Why do you always win?
Strategy. Thoughtful analysis of the game of war and all of its functions. Points of offense and defense.
Whatever. I've studied the great military leaders, the strategies of Emperor Napoleon, Ulysses S. Grant, Alexander the Great. All these men have two things in common: strong armies and strong minds. But their military strategies aren't helpful learning how to play chess.
But have you studied all of the great military leaders? Surely the memory of General Gideon is lodged somewhere within the folds of your cerebral cortex.
Remind me?
Gideon was not strong. He did not command a large army, and he certainly was not brilliant. And yet, God used him to defeat a vast army with a ragtag company.
I don't believe you.
Very well. 1, 2, 3.
Professor Milton, why are there two of you? I'm sorry. Who are you exactly? Because you look an awful lot like Professor Milton.
You know. Now that you mention it, he is rather dapper, isn't he? I'm Gideon, commander of the Israelite army. Sam, reconfigure the pieces. It's time that you learn a thing or two about strategy and the game of chess. You see, the people of Israel had sinned against God yet again. So God allowed the Midianites to conquer his people Israel. The Midianites took over and oppressed the land of the Israelites like a swarm of locusts over a wheat field.
What are locusts? That's hideous.
Locusts, Locusta migratoria, of the grasshopper family, but with incredible powers of flight. They travel in vast swarms and do extensive damage to crops. Where was I?
The Israelites were being conquered.
Yes. As I was saying, the people of Israel were so terrified of the Midianites that they went and hid in caves and prepared their food in secret, lest the Midianites should find out where they are and take not only their food, but their very lives. So God sent an angel to Israel, to the smallest of tribes and to the weakest of men, a man named Gideon.
Oh, wait. Why would God send someone weak to save his people? History is all about great leaders charging into battle, guns blazing, like the great French commander Napoleon.
Our great military strategy comes from great leadership. Command your troops with an iron fist. Sit tall atop your dappled steed and never show your fear. If you are afraid, you will never be a great leader. Who are you? I'm Gideon. I wasn't a brave commander, but God used me to lead his people against a gigantic army. You must have been a mighty leader. Otherwise, God would not have chosen someone like you. No, I wasn't a mighty leader. In fact, I was a very frightened man. Even after God promised me that he would deliver the Midianites into my hands, I didn't believe him.
But that doesn't answer my question. Why would God choose someone like Gideon to lead his people into war against the Midianites?
Well, you see, God had been teaching Gideon and his people that he alone deserved their worship. They had turned their backs on God and had begun worshiping false idols. So, to turn their hearts back to him, he allowed the Israelites to fall into the hands of their enemies, the Midianites. But when they repented and cried out to God, God chose Gideon to rescue his people from the hands of the Midianites. You see, God chose Gideon to prove to his people that he alone would provide the victory and that he alone deserved the glory.
So, what did Gideon do next?
Why? He called all of Israel to war.
I am Ulysses S. Grant, and you're right. Call in the men. Men! You need lots and lots of men. Send in the cavalry! Unleash the artillery! Drown your adversary beneath the crushing weight of your valiant forces! Charge!
But that's not what God told me.
What? Preposterous!
I tried to be strong. I called together all the men of Israel to fight against Midian. But the Lord told me, "You have too many men. I cannot deliver Midian into your hands, or Israel would boast, 'My own strength has saved me.'" So he told me to get up in front of the whole army and say, "Anyone who trembles with fear may turn back and leave." And 22,000 men left. That left me with only 10,000 men.
Bah! You cannot win a battle with 10,000 men. You need lots and lots of men, brave men, men willing to charge across the battlefield for honor and for country, for home and for family, for death and for glory. Charge!
So, playing a game of chess, huh? A battle of the mind.
You know what, Sam? You need to remove some of your pawns.
What? No. I need my pawns.
On the contrary, you have too many.
I can't. I'll lose. I need my pawns. All right.
But God told Gideon that he still had too many men.
Sam, you still have too many pieces.
Look, I know how you feel, Sam. God told me to take the army of Israel and take even more men out of the army. Actually, the Lord said, and I quote, "With 300 men I will deliver the Midianites into your hands." I, Alexander the Great, was a master of strategy. I defeat armies 2 times as big as my own. I know that it is statistically impossible to win with 300 men. This, I tell you, is a losing strategy.
Don't listen to him, Sam. Remove a few more. Take away one more piece.
Really? If I do that, then I'll only have 3 pieces left, and I definitely won't win.
Huh. You cannot win with so few men, pieces in your army?
You can't win with 300 men?
And you certainly cannot win with 3 chess pieces.
You'll win, Sam.
No, I won't.
That's what Gideon thought. But, you see, God wanted Gideon to know.
God deserves the glory for saving Israel. I know. You only said it 10 times.
Actually, 3. God led Gideon to divide the 300 men into 3 companies, and into their hands he placed trumpets, torches, and clay pots. Gideon told his men that when they heard the sound of his trumpet, they were to smash their clay pots, lift their torches high into the air, blow their horns, and shout from the top of their lungs, "For the Lord and for Gideon!" God led him into battle with only 300 men and a very strange strategy so that God himself would win the glory.
Really? Will that work?
You want to see? Now remember, Sam, you have never won. Are you sure that you can trust Gideon?
Yes.
Very well. You go first. It seems that I am vanquished.
So, what happened with Gideon? Did he win?
Well, all 300 men did exactly as Gideon had said. They smashed their clay pots, raised their torches high in the air, blew their trumpets, and shouted with all of their might down into the valley. And the Midianites were terrified and began to run, but Gideon and his men chased them down and slayed them with their swords. God miraculously delivered his people, the Israelites, from the hand of their enemies.
So, God won the battle, not Gideon. God deserves the glory.
Exactly. Gideon was not a great leader, a brave man, or a master strategist. In fact, as we learn today, he was really rather a weak man. But God glorified himself in Gideon's weakness. And God can glorify himself in our weakness too, whenever we choose to serve and worship him. And though there will be days when we forget God is in charge and that he deserves all of the glory, God, in his graciousness, can restore us to a place of humility before him when we turn away from our sins and choose to worship him. Because God deserves all of the glory, because he's amazing and loving and always returns to rescue and restore us whenever we cry out to him.
I couldn't agree more.
Me too. So, how about another game? Rematch?
You're on. 1, 2,